Thomas Edward Lawrence, T.E Lawrence for short, was a British military officer who also side hustled as a historian, archaeologist, and diplomat. If that makes your resume look lame already, well, it's only gonna sound even lamer as we go on. T.E Lawrence was obsessed with the stories and legends of the past, and had even traveled on bicycle and foot from France to Syria, studying Crusader castles in the Levant for his thesis. The following year, he arrived in Byblos, Lebanon to study excavations in the region and would begin a lifelong friendship with a Lebanese Christian woman by the name of Farida al-Akil, who taught him Arabic as well as introduced him to the mannerisms and culture of the Arab world. Side note, the character Zara in the video game Battlefield 1 is loosely based off of her. When World War I broke out, Lawrence was sent off, not to the muddy trenches of Belgium to fight the Germans, but rather to Egypt. While the British and French were fighting the German Empire in Europe, the Ottoman Empire had sided with the Germans. The Ottoman Empire was the last great Islamic power during the beginning of the 20th century. It was at the time known as the quote-unquote sick man of Europe, a testament to its identity as both an Islamic and European power, and the now near eclipse of the Ummah by the West. This concept of envy and insecurity will be a core theme of the following video. Despite being Muslim, the Ottoman Turks had not inspired goodwill among many Arabs who viewed the Turks as an imperial oppressor. For this reason, a group of Bedouins under the royal Hashemite family, who by the way claimed to be the descendants of the Prophet Muhammad's great-grandfather, and at the same time reigned over the Hejaz region, which now includes Islam's holiest cities, Mecca and Medina, sided with the British and French against the Turkish overlords. No longer would they tolerate the oppression of the Turkish ice cream vendors, cock-teasing them with ice cream scoop flips. These warriors fought to create a state stretching from Aleppo in Syria to Aden in what is now Yemen, in homage to the past historical glory. T.E Lawrence would aid the Arab revolt using his modern British know-how to help the Bedouin tribes in defeating the Turks, most famously during the capture of Damascus. All of this was done under the banner of this flag, the flag of the Arab revolt, with the colors red, green, black, and white, stripes, and a triangle. This flag would become the basis for many Arab nation flags today, including the Palestinian flag Hasan drapes himself with. This flag actually traces its origins to the Arab revolt. That is correct, the flag Hasan wears as a Gucci Che Guevara t-shirt traces its origins to a banner under which many Arabs, including the forefathers of many Palestinians, fought against Turkish imperialism. Unfortunately for the Arab revolt, in the aftermath of World War I, the British, French, and Italians would partition the Middle East under the Sykes-Picot Agreement, with little regard for the physical geography, demography, religion, ethnicity, or institutions of the Middle East. If you are wondering why the region today has so much conflict, this is part of, albeit not all, of why there are so many conflicts. But it's still considerable nonetheless. If you see a straight line on a map between two countries, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a shit show. There's even an urban legend which is called Churchill's sneeze, in which Churchill, when drawing straight lines on a map, had a hiccup, and that's why Jordan has this weird extruding territory. I can't wait for real life lore to make an hour-long video about how 11 people live here. At this point, the Arab revolt had fought against one imperial overlord only to find themselves under another one. To be fair, the Hashemites did have their own country, the Kingdom of Hejaz, stretching through a smaller territory than what they wanted. They would eventually be conquered, not by the Turks or the British, but rather by the House of Saud, resulting in what we now know as Saudi Arabia. The last remnant of power from the Arab Revolt is the monarchy in Jordan. To this day, despite being composed largely of Palestinians, the monarchy of Jordan, gaining complete independence from the British in 1948, maintains close relations with the Anglosphere to this day. They are kind of like the Palestine which made it. Granted, TikTokers and Nepo babies don't drape themselves with the Jordanian flag for clout points. One group of people who have had a very large population in the region but didn't get a state were the Kurds. They would spend the following centuries plus fighting against the oppression of Turkey, Syria, Iran, and Iraq. I'm sure Hasan Piker, the defender of the marginalized, is very supportive of the Kurds.
So do you support these Kurdish groups as well? No, what are you, crazy? No, of course not. Of course not. But be on the lookout for all of the coverage about how woke the Kurdish militias are.
Popular Twitch streamer Hasan Piker, wannabe journalist and performative Turkish activist, effectively called Kurdish forces American and Israeli mercenaries.
And just like I also called, Trump is going to, by way of Benjamin Netanyahu, activate the Kurdish forces that will storm the Iranian borders and go in and cause terror. And I can't speak too much because I'm Turkish. They want to make a Kurdish Israel. You know this is an act of imperialism.
Let me correct you on a few things, you know it all. First, Trump and Netanyahu cannot activate the Kurds. Whether your country of origin or yourself admit it or not, Kurds practice their foreign policy independently. Your prediction, which you were so proud of, ended up being wrong. Kurdistan leadership stayed out of the Iran war to protect Kurdish lives and prove the world that we are a non-destabilizing actor in the region who only seek peace. Next, no one is crossing into Iran. East of the globally recognized Kurdistan region is still Kurdistan. It is Kurdish territory occupied by Iran. And you claiming that Kurds reclaiming their land from a globally recognized terrorist organization, the IRGC, is an act of terror, in Marxist terms makes you a reactionary.
T.E Lawrence hated the Sykes-Picot Agreement, viewing it as a betrayal for everything he fought for. Nonetheless, tales of this campaign became legendary through T.E Lawrence's writings, namely The 7 Pillars of Wisdom and Revolt in the Desert. T.E Lawrence, in spite of his mistakes, was a wizard of wit, and through his writings he became far more famous than the historical footprint of the Arab Revolt would have one believe on face value. Through this, he became a modern myth, further immortalized by the 1962 film Lawrence of Arabia.
I am Stan of Arabia.
Oh, and side note, that Lebanese Christian woman who introduced him to the culture of the region, Farida? Well, she was my great-great aunt. Apparently they had a very close quote-unquote spiritual relationship, whatever the f that means. She stated that he didn't like being touched. She may have not gotten the memo that he was probably gay. Okay, so framing done. So, returning viewers already know that I've been running a series deconstructing and mocking Hasan Piker's quote-unquote teachings.
Here's why the 5-second rule works. Because when you start thinking for longer than 5 seconds, you're immediately not thinking with your dick and also thinking with this pesky thing up here that we like to call our brains.
Despite having the insight and knowledge of a frat boy who takes cheap whiskey shots through suppositories, Hasan has been seen as a sort of oracle for insight into the Middle East, using his astute knowledge of the subject.
Doesn't know where Yemen is? Okay, I'm gonna click close. I'm closing it. I'm closing it. Nope. Dude, I'm memeing. I'm fucking memeing. Nope. I'm fucking memeing. Got it.
I find it amusing that when asked to point to Yemen on a map, a country most well known for pirates, his first guess was a landlocked country. Lakes don't count. It's also rather bizarre that Hasan, when asked to point to Yemen on a map, also accidentally clicks on his favorite country, Israel. But don't feel too bad, Hasan. I've mispronounced words on some of my older videos about you. If you can catch all of my mistakes, I will send you a gift. Now, Hasan's dumb, ill-informed, ideologically driven view of the Middle East has gained prominence over the past few years, particularly among the clever minds of young people.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU is doing.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia and we came down. They said NYU needs our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of talks. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
Hasan and I have fairly similar backgrounds. Both of us are younger millennials. Granted, young here is a relative term. In Zoomer years, that means both of us belong in the hospice care center waiting for our final destination becoming maggot food. Both of us come from privileged backgrounds. Granted, he is infinitely more privileged than I am. I never had a pet horse or a horse-loving uncle who gave me a high-profile job.
That if I were the benevolent dictator of the world, I would legalize bestiality where you are giving, where you are pleasuring the animal.
Regardless of some similarities here and there, we came to very different conclusions about the world, including different conclusions about the region we trace our lineage to. During one Twitch event, Hasan's cultists created an infamous list known as the Habibi tier list. Now, Habibi means my love in Arabic, roughly. At the top of the hierarchy was Arab. I tend to not think that ethnicities and linguistic groups are inherently better than others, but I'm assuming that Twitch goes little mustache because, well, Twitch just goes little mustache. On top of the list was our savior, Hasan Piker, a Turkish guy. Someone might want to inform the morons who took part in this event that the Turks are the historical colonizers of the Arabs throughout much of modern history. For example, this is the traditional dress for men in Lebanon and Syria, based off of old Turkish fashion. Making these pants popular is far worse than any ethnic cleansing or war of conquest. Only colonized oppressed people held at gunpoint could possibly wear pants which looked like the wearer took a dump in them. On top of that, religious minorities under the Ottoman Turks had to pay the jizya tax for centuries, essentially paying an extra tax for the privilege of not getting beheaded. Think about how much more money I could have had if my ancestors didn't have to pay that tax. I want a $250,000 communist Porsche just like Hasan does. Hasan, you're Turkish and I'm Lebanese.
You owe me reparations.
I do.
Why that?
So this video is part of a 3, possibly 4-part series. The first is an intro to Hasan's distortions about the history and current affairs of the Middle East. The second will be about the Red-Green alliance between communists and Islamists. And the third video will be about what I call the curse of the halal ham, the radicalization pipeline in which many quote-unquote cultural Muslims adopt far-left ideologies as they immigrate to the West and assimilate into modern secular culture. Trust me, this will all make sense as we move forward. Oh, and if you guys enjoyed this series, please like, share, subscribe, and hype. If these videos do gain traction, I will create a 4th bonus video of the series on the Pro Hasan website, quote-unquote, HasanPiker911.com. Yes, this website does exist. I know a video talking about global affairs on its own will be cast into the YouTube hell by the algorithm, but a video series which on face value mocks and ridicules an influencer, but underneath all of that explains, at very least, a little sliver of the complexity of this fascinating region, will possibly work. And get me money. I want a socialist Porsche, and a pet horse, and even a camel, damn it. Before we begin, one more note. I will be following what is called Ragusa's law or Ragusa's rule. This was coined by the food tuber Adam Ragusa, who created a rule of thumb stating that one should pronounce foreign words in a way which is most similar to the original, while at the same time exclusively using phonetic sounds from the language you're speaking. This avoids completely butchering the pronunciation of the foreign words that you are speaking, while at the same time not trying too hard and sounding cringe. Calling Mexico Mexico when you're speaking English doesn't sound cultured, it's just ew, cringe. Hence, I will pronounce all non-English words as close as I can to their original pronunciation, but only using English phonetics. I don't speak any Turkish, Persian, etc., and my Arabic skills are on par with a mentally deficient toddler. Not to mention the vast dialectical differences in the Arabic language. This is going to be the nomenclature for all my future videos going forward. As stated in a previous Hasan video, Hasan Piker, Quest for the Dictator's Dong, I point out that Hasan and his ilk subscribe to an ideology known as Campism, which is the belief that the world can be divided into camps, usually two camps in the modern day, with the big bad West on one hand, and on the other hand, the wholesome saviors of human rights and peace known as Russia, China, and North Korea.
Two principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. That's a principle that you could take home with you. If you want to actually be moral, or if you want to be smart about the way you analyze other countries, that's one basic principle that you can take home with you. All of a sudden, magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You're going to be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
In the Middle East, this can be broken down into supporting the West's current #1 enemy in the region, the Islamic Republic of Iran, alongside its proxies known as the Axis of Resistance. On the other side is the country of Israel, as well as Muslim-majority countries which are friendly with the West, like the Gulf states, Jordan, Morocco, etc. These are viewed as evil adjacent. Now, before I get inevitably strawmanned by campists, my issues with Hasan and other campists is not with their criticism of the West, of Israel, of Saudi Arabia, or any other country they don't like in and of itself. My issue is with their hypocrisy, and most of all, their pathetic simping for pigshit regimes and terrorist groups.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel. But everybody hates them. Like, everybody in the region, a lot of people don't like them. Like,
I like what you like.
I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the old-school Cold War campus no longer had mass-murdering communist regimes of any significance to kiss the asses of.
The fall of the USSR was one of the greatest catastrophes of the 20th century. Just wait, listen, maybe you'll agree.
With the meta-narrative of communism in the septic tank of history, many on the far left no longer had these supposed communist utopias to simp for. But their enemies, the United States and its allies, were still standing tall. So many resorted to supporting any regime or terrorist group which was anti-Western. The main issue here is that in the Middle East, most of the anti-Western forces are so reactionary they make Nick Fuentes look like a gay catboy. Well, even more like a gay catboy, like the gayest of the gay catboys.
The guy's totally based and red-pilled. He's not gay. I'm not gay. You know, nothing happened. People watched the stream, and, you know, a stream where we, like, play arcade games, and Vaush is like, well, look, in this picture, Nick looks at him and they're laughing. Oh, yeah, well. He goes, well, I guess that's a date then. Look, they're laughing at each other the whole time. Oh, yeah.
Something about a bunch of guys alone together seems kind of gay.
The primary group of people Hasan has been simping for is known as the Axis of Resistance. an alliance of mostly Shia fundamentalist groups led by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The group is composed of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Iran, followed by the former Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria, the Shiite militant group Hezbollah, which exists as a state within the state of Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, which have taken up a third of Yemen's territory, as well as various Iraqi Shiite militant groups. And then there's the more tenuous alliance with Hamas and the Islamic Jihad in Gaza. The Palestinian Hamas and Islamic Jihad are Sunni fundamentalists, making their alliance with Iran rather tenuous. It's more of an alliance of convenience rather than, say, an alliance of genuine shared value systems like they share with Hezbollah and the Houthis, which are Shia. Again, this goes back to a 1400-year-old blood feud. Now, Hasan's support for these groups is also one of convenience. Hasan doesn't really care about Islam in any serious religious sense of the word. This alliance is pushed solely by their shared hatred of the Western world, liberal democracy, and to a far, far lesser extent, capitalism. Let's start out with the government of Iran, the head of the axis of resistance. It is one thing to oppose going to war with Iran, which is a respectable stance. It's another thing to act like the fundamentalist, fascist, kleptocratic death cult ran by old bearded men afraid of women's hair are the heroes of the story. The government of Iran is not only a mafia state, it is run by men with apocalyptic delusions of grandeur. Some elements of the government believe that the second coming of the 12th Imam, Muhammad al-Mahdi, will come back to Earth alongside Muslim Jesus. And in some versions of the story, a world war of good versus evil will break out.
Like, this conversation about nuclear proliferation is stupid. Like, they know how to enrich uranium. They have nuclear facilities. And these guys are using that as a pretext to just do regime change in Iran. Just make a nuke, man. Jesus Christ.
These are the people who Hasan thinks should have nuclear weapons.
That is it true that every man in paradise will have 72 maidens, Hur al-Ain, and 2 wives? The answer is no. This is not true at all. Every man would have 2 wives in paradise. And if you do the math, you will find throughout history that women are always more than men. As for the 72 Hur, this is only and specifically for those who are martyred on the battlefield, who die as a shaheed on the battlefield. And this is a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal.
Now, I don't know about you, but there is no one more dangerous than a 70-something-year-old fundamentalist pervert who thinks Allah will reward him for starting a nuclear war with 72 virgins. Hasan also claimed that the US is worse than the Iranian government.
America is obviously still far worse than the Iranian government, even in terms of like the dire economic situation that Iranians are facing is also a direct consequence of American intervention. So every Iranian that is in a state of disarray due to the real dropping in value to zero, or due to not having any sort of due to people not having any sort of commerce in the country, that's all America. That's all American intervention. So they're still worse.
Of course, none of this has anything to do with the government of Iran robbing its own people blind and using its oil revenue to support proxy fundamentalist groups rather than provide its own people with fucking tap water. This was around the time when ICE protests in the United States during late 2025 and early 2026 were going on. The ICE protests led to 2 people getting killed. Tragic. The Iran protests led to 7,000 to 35,000 people being massacred. If only the Iranian protesters were given Hasan's war correspondent's bulletproof Halloween costume. Hasan continued to obsess over the death toll of 2 anti-ICE protesters, and sure, rightfully so. However, he went out of his way to downplay the numbers of Iranians killed.
Alhamdulillah, USA is going to strike and murder that pig Khamenei. And I know even though you act like you condemn the regime, you and your tanky viewers are going to be fuming. Tanky. Brother, you can't say Alhamdulillah and then say tanky, okay? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Either, like, what is happening here? Why are Arab posters in my chat literally using like American Western chauvinist terminology? It's so stupid. Like, you like Khamenei tweet when he's responsible for killing so many people? Listen, sometimes you can find poetry in the strangest places. Yeah, Persian. I am Persian. I am Persian. I am not Iranian.
Let's take the smallest number of Iranians killed. 7,000. 2 versus 7,000. Which is larger, Hasan? You know what? I can't muster up the patience to teach Hasan how to count, but let me get an expert in teaching math to toddlers.
Here it is. This is it. Presenting the number of the day. Is it 1? 1. No. Is it 2?
2.
Thank you, Count Von Count. You were my first math teacher. I can always count on you to teach basic math to Nepo babies. Speaking of Lebanon, let's move forward to Hasan's piss gargling for Hezbollah. Piss is yellow, and so is Hezbollah's flag.
Let's talk about our favorite flags.
Oh, like overall, what my favorite flag?
Yeah.
Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag.
Take away the gun, and this flag looks like the label of some bag of turmeric powder. Hasan's pathetic simping for Hezbollah is what finally pushed me to create the first video I made about him, Hasan Piker Gucci Guerrilla Fighter, in the first place. I was on the fence when it came to drama content beforehand, but when I saw this pampered Chanel socialist sit in his luxury communist compound promoting a group of people which has been using my ancestral homeland, a country once known as the Switzerland of the Middle East, as a toilet bowl, well, that's what finally pushed me to first delve into the fucking slop content. And to be honest, given the views and ad revenue, I have to say, thank you, Hasan, sort of. For those of you who don't know, Lebanon was once a major financial and tourist destination before it broke out into civil war between Muslims and Christians. One of the Shia Muslim militias which came to fruition during this era was Hezbollah, and when the civil war ended, it was the only militia group to not abide by the peace process and disarm. Since then, it has operated as a country within a country, acting as a proxy for the government of Iran. Hezbollah has prevented Lebanon from getting sufficient foreign investment. It's gotten the country involved in unnecessary conflicts, suppressed anti-corruption protesters, and has assassinated and bombed politicians and journalists. Individual members of Hezbollah have also been tied to the assassination of the former Lebanese Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri. Hezbollah is hated by nearly all non-Shiite Lebanese people, Christian, Sunni, and Druze, and by most other Arab states. But you know who loves Hezbollah? A certain pampered Nepo baby who gets nudes from fans while he demands that Lebanese people, probably the most socially liberal Arabs in the world, live under a theocracy which forces women to wear trash bags made out of cloth.
They're all a base. I mean, listen, a lot of these dudes, you see them in their fucking fits, and you hear about like some of their attitudes about like gay people, for example.
أمريكا تضغط على مجموعة من الدول العربية والإسلامية لتدخل موضوع المثليين إلى المناهج الدراسية تبع الأطفال.
If you're a new listener, just type in Pentagon tested gay bomb on Iraq.
And you immediately resort to Orientalist perspectives, not realizing that these motherfuckers are better read than you.
Well, Hasan, since you're so fond of the scholarship and the supposed audible playlist of all the books read or listened to by the former leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, let's take a look into one of the books Hassan Nasrallah has read. Hassan Nasrallah was one of the most devout followers of Khomeini, the first Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the leader of the Iranian Revolution. One of Khomeini's books was called, quote, Clarification of the means of salvation. Pretty terrible name, would not really work well with the YouTube algorithm.
That's the legendary question of all time. Old enough to count, old enough to mount? Question mark?
Well, Hasan, it turns out that this book, which Nasrallah read and took to heart, actually has the answer to the quote-unquote most legendary question of all time. Let's read it together. Reading Rainbow time! Intercourse with a woman is not allowed unless she attains the age of 9 years, regardless whether the marriage is permanent or temporary. There is, however, no objection in other enjoyments like touching, lasciviously hugging and rubbing the thighs, even with a suckling infant.
So what do you want to do?
A hug?
I don't know.
Hey, hey. You have a seat right around that stool right there in front, please. No, right there. Please have a seat. Right there.
So there you have it, bro tips Hasan. The most legendary answer to the most legendary question of all time, old enough to count, old enough to mount, is this. Most children learn how to count from around 2 to 5 years. This is less than 9 years old. For this reason, you must wait at least an additional 4 years after she can count if you want to marry and then mount her in accordance with the teachings of the Ayatollah and Nasrallah. But you can apparently molest the infants. Maybe EDP 445 will convert to Islamo-leftism after watching this. Another group of scholars tied to Hasan, which love to read Hezbollah books, are the Irish rap group, Kneecap. The music sounds great when you put it on mute.
Go ahead, bro. Tell us something. Find that go. Yes, don't sweat, son. Pass me that, mate. All these
Granted, Hasan does not discriminate when it comes to whatever America bad force exists on the planet. When he's not kissing the ass of fundamentalists, he loves to also kiss the ass of secular dictatorships. The al-Assad regime in Syria was the only state actor aside from Iran's government which was part of the axis of resistance. Here is a social media ally of Hasan, Rania Khalik, taking her Instagram glamour up, proving to all of you haters how amazing the Syrian regime was at the time. Now, eagle-eyed viewers were quick to point out that her influencer view had included a prison for dissidents, known for torture, arbitrary arrests, and forced starvation. Hasan then proceeded to soil his Prada underwear when he found out that Rania's propaganda outlet, Breakthrough News, is being investigated for ties to Royal Neville Singham, who most likely funded Hasan's propaganda trip to Cuba.
I don't have any personal contact with Roy Singham or any of these other people. I mean, I know some of these people. They're wonderful people in general. They're activists.
Hasan also called Assad the quote-unquote Lion of Syria. After the death of pro-Assad, pro-Iranian Hezbollah leader Nasrallah was killed, various Syrian rebel groups mounted their offensive against Assad. When the rebels, many of whom were backed by Turkey, approached Damascus, this lion flew away with his balls retracted into his body. Today, he is enjoying his days playing video games in his Moscow penthouse. Apparently, his favorite games are Battlefield, along with FIFA and Candy Crush. I hope he's fond of the portrayal of my great-great-aunt in Battlefield 1. Like Hasan, the Assad regime was socialist, at least in name. And you can't be a true socialist unless you have a collection of sports cars.
Syrian rebels seized control of Bashar al-Assad's palace after he fled to Russia, ending his 13-year rule. A viral video from inside the palace showed Assad's extravagant car collection, featuring luxury brands like Ferrari, Aston Martin, Bentley, and Rolls-Royce.
Hasan, you only have a Porsche. You aren't even doing socialism correctly. You have to have a Ferrari F50 like Assad did. Hasan, I'm just disappointed in you. Your communist car collection doesn't even include a single Bentley Continental GT. By the way, viewers, please like, sub, and hype this video. I want to fight for the communist jihad by buying an Aston Martin Valkyrie. Funny enough, one of the reasons why Hasan was fairly supportive of Assad was because he believed he was a secular alternative to Islamic fundamentalists. Strange, since Hasan is rather fond of supporting Islamic fundamentalists when they spout his campist worldview, to the point when he even compliments them on their dance moves.
Oh, you want to see a Houthi musical? Sure. These were the people that the Saudis were killing, by the way, just so you know. These musically gifted individuals.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I need the money, guys.
I'm gonna grab my food.
The Houthis might want to know that music is haram. I can't also help but point out how strange it is to have a dance-off without any girls. Their dance parties are just giant sausage fests. They're the gayest dance parties I've ever seen by a group of people who make gay dance-offs off of rooftops.
Musically gifted individuals.
Okay, I'm sorry, I need the money, guys.
I'm gonna grab my food.
I'm not homophobic, but this song is so fucking gay.
So for those of you who don't know, the Houthis are a Shia fundamentalist Iran-backed militant group in Yemen, which has taken over the southwestern third of the country from the Yemeni government. This prompted a brutal civil war alongside a Sunni Arab bombing campaign led by Saudi Arabia. Hasan started glazing them openly, first when they were fighting against Saudi Arabia because he hates any sort of regime that is supported by the United States, but he even supported them more so when they started to block the Bab el-Mandab Strait and started firing rockets towards Israel. Yeah, and they also have a flag which includes the phrase, "a curse upon the Jews." And you know they're super serious since the font is spiky like those spiky Koopas from the Mario video games. We're dealing with some real badasses over here. Just look at this guy.
نفذت القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية نوعية استهدفت سفينتين نفطيتين سعوديتين.
As you can see, the way to defeat your enemies is to yell out the last syllable of your sentence. That is what Allah wills. Our number one enemy is your eardrum. Hassanabi gave a digital rin job to one Houthi pirate who, in his own words, took part in the kidnapping of Asian sailors who were taken hostage between the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean.
I DM'd him. Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean? Of course I'm about to have a... I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism.
This kid was not a prominent member of the Houthis, but rather some dumb teenager who got internet famous because his cheekbones make pussies wet. He is not of any political importance, but he is probably going to be turned into crab food as the result of his clout obsession. Now, the greatest journalist of all time, Hasan Piker, must have asked this pirate the real hard-hitting questions, such as the Houthis' track record on slavery, kidnapping, and child soldiers.
I have something here that was sent to me from an excerpt from the interview that you guys conducted, where you asked him if he prefers, you know, Burger King or McDonald's or whatever. Is there a KFC there? They're everywhere. I don't think there's a KFC in Yemen, dog.
He says they have two.
Oh, they do have KFC in Yemen? That's crazy.
Well, who gives a shit about war crimes if the people committing those atrocities like KFC's popcorn chicken? By the way, I made an old video on the history of KFC. No one watched it. Check it out if you're interested. Give it some love. It's been rather neglected. Hasan would also discuss other hard-hitting subjects, such as the anime show The Houthis Watch.
Okay, this is a stupid question. Okay, you can preface it with that. Does he know what One Piece is?
One Piece, like, is that an organization?
No, One Piece is an anime.
Oh, okay. اول شيء بقول لك انه ممكن هذا السؤال يكون شوي اهبل بس بسالك تعرف شو هو ون بيس عمرك سمعت بون بيس
أكيد يعني منذ الطفولة وأنا أشاهد ون بيس لوفي.
Is it Lofi?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes, that's fire. That's so fire. Oh my god, dude. We think the Houthis Ansar Allah is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
بقول لك حسن إنه
All of this was a pathetic attempt to make the Houthis seem relatable to his army of moronic supporters. Hey, they like fried chicken and anime, just like we do. They're so easy to relate to. I wonder if they also take pisses. The truth is that a country like Yemen, run by the Houthis, would never be able to produce anime like Japan or even a KFC chain like the third world country Kentucky. These forms of artistic and business practices require rule of law, strong institutions, freedom of expression, open trade, pretty much everything which the Houthis and their useful idiots like Hasan oppose. And this truce of convenience between two failed ideologies, envious of societies which are more successful than them, will be the subject of my next video when we cover the Red-Green Alliance. If you're interested, check out some of my other content which isn't related to Hasan or drama. I have a very eclectic set of interests, which makes it quite difficult to gain traction with the YouTube algorithm. There's something nearly for everybody. Well, everybody with poor taste. Anyway, if you like this, please watch some of my other content. In the meantime, a wizard must get back to work.
يوم سيطرنا على الخوضه بآلي ما نبالي بالهضر والمدفعية
This is a 3-minute video of. What do you mean a music video? When you said music video, I'm expecting like bad example, Chris Brown dancing, you know.
No. They do like
they
do musicals. They're very musical people.
Are you being serious?
Dog, what do you look? You think I made this?
Isn't music. I know they're singing, but I'm seeing just guns and shit. This isn't a music.